turn and see how this is playing out in Argentina. And Joel Richards is in Buenos Aires with his finger on the pulse of what many say could be an economic catastrophe for Argentina. Joel, President Kirchner has called the holdouts vulture funds. Some are accusing Argentina's government of recklessness. But Joel, how are the people in the country on the ground viewing this legal standoff?
Evening, Michelle. Really with great uncertainty, as we heard both from yourself and from Karina there. People very unsure how this is going to play out. There's talk of a behind-the-scenes discussion still going on at this moment. So we're not quite sure how this will play out, and so obviously, as a result, we're not quite sure what will happen tomorrow and in the coming weeks. But obviously, any talk of default here in Argentina is very sensitive. In 2001, the debt crisis really was absolutely catastrophic for Argentina. Now, the country is in no way, shape or form in a similar position to back in 2001. Argentina, as Axel Kicillof said today, is able to pay some of the bond holders. So it's a very different situation, but certainly when we look at the big picture, these economic crises in Argentina are cyclical. They're happening every 10 years or so, and that, of course, is a major concern for everybody here in Argentina.
It's not the first time Argentina has been here. The current legal struggle with holdout hedge funds is being compared to previous attempts at restructuring Argentina's national debt. Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner's government had said it would not pay the so-called vulture funds that are demanding full payment on bonds they picked up on the cheap. But there are many creditors who are more than happy with the deal brokered with Argentina in debt restructuring after 2001. Tullio Zembo represents 450,000 bondholders from Italy.
Argentina negotiated with us. Almost all of us in Italy accepted the terms in 2010, and since then Argentina fulfilled its commitment. It paid up. And I have lost touch with the creditors since then because they have needed no further advice.
The Italian bondholders want their case separated from the holdouts. The current legal action has prevented them and other bondholders from receiving payment. But the legal action has also placed Argentina on the verge of technical default. This legal standoff stretches back to 2001 when Argentina was unable to service its foreign debt. It was the largest default in history, and it sparked not only economic turmoil but also social and political instability. The 2001 crisis hit the country on every level. Alejandro Olmos Gaona is a specialist on the subject. He says the current crisis and the 2001 crash are the result of economic mismanagement that dates back decades.
This problem Argentina has with the so-called vulture funds started in 1976 with a policy of loading up more debt by the military dictatorship. When the dictatorship ended, the debt had grown by $39 billion, and it is unknown what that money was spent on. There were no investigations into the fact that the debt from the dictatorship was completely illegal.
After a return to democracy in 1983, subsequent governments continued policies to cover debt repayment by issuing more bonds, and the foreign debt continued to grow until the 2001 crash. History shows that Argentina's economic problems of today are similar to those of the past, and without significant policy changes, there's little to suggest that these problems won't come back again in the future.
So we're still awaiting then to see how this will play out this evening and then what will happen. But let's not forget that while Axel Kicillof, the finance minister, said there could be a third-party intervention here to resolve this situation, Argentina's economy currently with very high inflation, there is a recession here. And as Daniel Pollock, the mediator between Argentina and the holdout hedge funds, said, the people who will feel this crisis most is, of course, the people most affected by this is, of course, the people in Argentina.
All right, Joel Richards, thanks for covering that for us. Joel Richards live in Buenos Aires. Now for more